I think you saw the Prophet. Like, you saw him. Why me, out of everyone, being a model and doing these things? Like, I didn't think that I was good enough. It was the most beautiful, like, experience of my life, you know? And, like, my journey to Islam isn't, like, a normal, you know, journey. So look at you crying, you little silly thing.
I'm the worst crier. I'm such an undercrier.
Recently, something unexpected happened. Many of you already know Lily J, but what most people didn't know is that she has a daughter, and not just any daughter, a young woman who was living a completely different life, a model, traveling the world, surrounded by luxury, attention, and opportunities. But today, her story is being talked about for a very different reason, because after Lily, now people are asking, has her daughter also found Islam? Her journey didn't start in a masjid, it didn't start with scholars, and it didn't even start with knowledge. It started in a place you wouldn't expect, on a holiday, living life, enjoying everything the world has to offer.
Obviously, we're Muslims at the end of the day. We don't party, we don't drink, we don't do that. But we're just living life, like we're soaking in the sun. I was in bikinis, like, you know, that's my job. I was sitting outside, I was listening to nasheeds, and I was just crying. I always listen to nasheeds, and it's like one of my favorite things. And my cousin and I were on an island, deserted island, and we were thinking about places to go next. And for some reason, I don't even know what it was. It was so out of the blue. I can't even tell you till this day. I just looked at her and I go, Jelan, what about Umrah? Why don't we go to Umrah? I can't, like, I'm genuinely telling you, I can't even explain why.
She herself said she was just living her life, traveling, wearing what she wanted, doing what she wanted. Nothing unusual, nothing extreme, just dunya. But then something happened, something she still cannot explain to this day. Out of nowhere, a thought came into her mind. What if I go to Umrah?
Oh my God, the way that I feel like this girl just dropped into my lap with like a little bow. That first night, actually, we went and she showed me like the dome of where Prophet Muhammad was buried. And she's like, come here, my dear, like I'm gonna show you where Rasulullah is buried. And I'm like walking and she's like, look up, here it is. And I was like, wow. I know, like I couldn't even believe or fathom that I was even in the vicinity of where he was buried.
Prophet is right in front of us.
I honestly feel like that is the happiest I've ever felt in my life.
Subhanallah.
Oh. I don't even know, like it's so hard to even explain it to people who hasn't. Oh gosh.
No planning, no preparation, not even ready. Just moments before, she was living a completely different lifestyle, and suddenly, she's thinking about going to the house of Allah.
And like my journey to Islam isn't like a normal, you know, journey. So for me, like it's something different. It's something that I had to find on my own. And just to like get to the point that I was where I feel like, you know, the holiest place on earth that you could be. And I almost just felt like a sense of like proudness, you know. I was like, I'm proud that like I didn't let my nefs, you know, get the better of me and allowed me to go here, because it was the most beautiful like experience of my life, you know.
And this is where her story becomes different. She didn't wait, she didn't overthink, she didn't delay. She made a decision that most people wouldn't have the courage to make. She booked a flight and went to Umrah alone.
We were walking towards his grave, and there was just this beautiful man, and he was staring in the direction of Prophet Muhammad's grave. And I remember looking at him, and I was transfixed. He had so much nur on his face. It perfectly encapsulated what I thought Prophet Muhammad would have looked like. And I just kept walking. And then there was another time, and I saw the guy again. And I tried for my cousin to see him. I'm like, oh, look, that's him. She's like, where? I can't see him. And I just kept having this feeling in my heart that was Prophet Muhammad. But I was like, it can't be, like, he's not alive and I'm going to his grave. I'm like, that it's just not even possible. I honestly couldn't believe my eyes, and I can still see him like in my head even now when I think about it.
Wow.
Come to find out, we're talking to a sheikh and we're asking, like, can't just Prophet Muhammad come to you in your dreams? And he's like, no, like, he can actually come to you as a form of a human. And he goes, I think you saw the Prophet, like, you saw him. I'm like, no. Like, it's crazy even thinking about it now. And I was like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I can't handle this. I was like, how me? How, like, why me, you know? Out of everyone. Gosh, this feels so stupid.
No guide, no experience, no clear understanding of what to expect. But she said something powerful. This is my invitation, and I'm not going to deny Allah. And from that moment, everything started to change. The moment she entered Medina, she felt something she had never felt before. Not happiness from the world, but something deeper.
I was shocked. So I was sitting on the bed, so I had the perfect view of the Kaaba. And I'm talking to Lily and my dad, and I'm just FaceTiming them. And the adhan started, and I was just admiring, you know, how many people were praying. And to the corner of my eye, like, I literally saw these birds get up and they're doing circles. It gets even crazier. So they're making tawaf, right? And I'm still like shocked. It's literally like Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. The last Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, the birds just go back down on the building. I was like, oh no. What is this? Like, I kept seeing things. I've learned after that if no humans are making tawaf, anything else can be making. There's 70,000 angels that will be down on you and will be making tawaf, you know? And even the birds and the animals can be doing it.
Peace. A peace that made her cry, again and again and again. People around her even noticed it. They said, she won't stop crying. But those weren't tears of sadness, they were tears of connection. And for someone who lived in a world where appearance meant everything.
Well, it was amazing. Like, I got to feel it twice. And I got to touch the door, and I got to go to Prophet Ibrahim's, his footsteps. But when I touched it, I completely forgot that you had to make a dua, like you had to say a prayer. And as I'm touching, I'm like, wow, like, I didn't know what to say. Everything went out of my head. I felt like I prayed for everything, like, possible. That all I was saying is, Assalamu alaikum, ya Allah, you know? And then the only thing that I could think about was Palestine. And I'm like, ya Allah, free Palestine, ya Allah, please free Palestine. And I was just crying, and I had my head on the wall, and I had my hands there, and I was kissing it, and I was like, ya Allah, please just free us from this wall. Pray for everyone.
Medina showed her something else. For the first time, she didn't feel judged. She didn't feel pressure. She felt free. And then came the moments that she still struggles to explain. Experiences that felt beyond logic. Moments in Rada. Sounds she couldn't explain. Feelings she had never felt before. Even she herself said her journey to Islam is not a normal one. Because she didn't grow into it slowly, she was pulled into it. Then came Mecca, and the moment she saw the Kaaba, everything stopped. She couldn't speak, she couldn't think, she could only cry. That was the moment where everything changed, not just emotionally, but internally. She started questioning her life, not because she was doing something wrong, but because she realized something was missing. She realized that life is not about dunya first and Allah second, but the opposite. And after returning, she wasn't the same person anymore. She said it herself. Looking at her old life felt like she was looking at someone else. She started covering herself more, thinking differently, feeling differently, living differently. And this is where the question begins. After everything she experienced, after all those signs, after that transformation, has she truly embraced Islam? Or is this just the beginning of her journey? Because sometimes Allah guides people in ways we never expect.
But yeah, basically the moral of this long story is that I really don't want anyone to think that they're not good enough to go to Umrah. If you have that feeling, just go. You know, please, like, I'm begging people, just go and experience it, and I just promise you that it will change your life like it changed mine. That's almost like why I'm kind of doing this. I don't, even though I'm a model, it's just behind camera and people don't really see your personality, and I don't really talk, I don't feel comfortable talking on camera. So to do this and to maybe give someone the slightest bit of confidence to be like, you know what, they might think that they're not good enough, and I just felt like in my heart I wasn't a good enough Muslim. You know, I feel like that's something that a lot of people struggle with. They're not a good enough person, they're not a good enough Muslim to go to the most holiest place on earth, you know. But like, Allah always accepts you for how you are, who you are, you know. He tells you if you walk to him, he will run to you. It also reminds me of like what you would say all the time, is that if you knock, Allah will open the door. And you know what, like, this life is not guaranteed. Everyone thinks on the aspect of, oh well, next year. We aren't guaranteed next year, we're not even guaranteed tomorrow. Don't delay it. And you know what's even crazy? I spontaneously booked the tickets and I was like, we need to go, because you never know what could happen.